Raisin Cane's and Steak and Shake, two of Ole Miss's newest dining options, are officially open for business.
NewsWatch has the latest on the Pavilion restaurant. Good evening, I'm Chandler Morgan.
And I'm Abby Cummings. Before we get to the Pavilion, 1 week after signing day, and the Ole Miss Rebels have been slapped with even more NCAA violations.
What's next for Ole Miss Athletics? Leah Gibson joins us with the latest. Leah?
Thanks, guys. Almost 2 weeks ago, news broke that the Ole Miss women's basketball, track, and football teams had committed a total of 28 NCAA infractions. Heading into signing day, Ole Miss fans were led to believe that most of the infractions were committed by the women's basketball team and that ex-football coach, Houston Nutt, was responsible for the majority of the football ones. However, the AP reported that 9 of the 13 infractions were committed during Hugh Freeze's tenure. I got a chance to talk to a few students to hear their thoughts and feelings on what they think will happen to the Ole Miss football program. The Ole Miss football program has been cited by the NCAA in 13 of the 28 rule violations against the university, reports the Associated Press. 9 of the 13 allegations occurred under the direction of Coach Hugh Freeze. The violations are a mix of Level 1, 2, and 3, with Level 1 as the most serious. Some of the issues with football are already known, such as the case of Laramie Tunzel, who was ruled to have received improper benefits. He was suspended for 7 games. Ole Miss students respond to the possibility of outsiders and fans viewing the university differently after the allegations.
Honestly, I don't think it'll affect it, in a way. I mean, we're such, a well-known school, and, we already have our recruitment and everything like that. And, like she said, everybody already knows where they want to go. So, I don't think it'll affect it in, in a negative way at all.
I think our alumni and our fans will understand that we go through things. It's life. So they will understand that the things that we go through, trials and tribulations, we'll get through it.
I think that everybody else in the league is nervous. I think people across the country are nervous. I mean, Jim Harbaugh's allegations against the SEC recently are indicative of that. I mean, we're getting good, and we're proving that we can maintain pressure on the best teams in the conference, and that scares them. So I think that the boosters, especially at other programs and other schools, are doing whatever they can, applying pressure wherever they can to try and keep us down.
And previously, we have done a lot for the NCAA. They've done a lot for us, and we've worked hand in hand with them for many, many, many years. So I think that they should find it somewhere to, work with us with this situation.
Ole Miss has 78 days left to respond to the NCAA regarding their violations. We will keep you updated if anything breaks. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Leah. Now, since opening last month, the Pavilion has been the host to some exciting basketball matchups. But if sports really isn't your thing, then maybe food is more your speed. Jack Bedrosian is live at the Pavilion with a look at the excitement over Steak and Shake and Raisin Cane's. Jack.
Never mind your New Year's resolution, because Cane's and Steak and Shake are open in the Pavilion.
Lines were long as the Pavilion opened its doors to students eager to eat Steak and Shake and Raisin Cane's.
Monday through Friday for students to hang out, come and go, grab, chicken, grab a hamburger, grab a milkshake.
Today was the first day the restaurants were open to students without a game in session.
This is also a great place for our students to come. They can come here and eat during the day, and it's kind of a center point now for our university and our athletics.
Cane's and Steak and Shake will be open Monday through Thursdays 7 to 9 and Fridays from 7 to 2. Students can use Flex, Meal Plan, or Plus One.
The Pavilion also has a ceasefire store and iPads throughout the arena to check stats on the game. Back to you guys at the desk.
Last night, the Associated Student Body Senate met in a committee session where they discussed ideas and issues on the Ole Miss campus. One topic of conversation included the resolution concerning the name of Vardaman Hall. ASB Vice President John Brand said the resolution must be debated, voted on, and passed through the Committee on Inclusion and Cross-Culture Engagement before it hits the Senate floor. Until that happens, the ASB Senate will not debate the resolution.
The road to the 2016 election season made its way over to New Hampshire last night. The primary results left candidates Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders with a victory. According to Republican candidate, Trump won the primary with 34% of the votes, and Democratic candidate Sanders swept the votes at 60%. The division remains between both parties, with last night's results suggesting that the road to the Democratic and Republican races could be a long one. I got to sit down with the new Ole Miss chancellor earlier today, and he had a lot to say about his new job. That's up next on NewsWatch.
But first, let's take a quick look at weather with Stormwatch's Abby McIntosh.
Good evening, Oxford. It's chilly outside with temperatures in the upper 30s, but great news. Temperatures are on the rise. Coming up in the extended forecast, I'll show you when.
Welcome back. Today I sat down with the Chancellor of the University, Dr. Jeff Vitter, and discussed some of the recent topics popping up across campus. Here's what Vitter had to say.
Alrighty, well, once again, just thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I'm just going to start off. You've been in office a little over a month now. Take us through what it's been like being in this position. How have you been approaching this position personally?
Well, we're embarking on what we call a flagship forum, which is a 100-day listening and learning tour so that I can learn quickly all that's happening at the university, and that's a tall order because there are so many amazing things happening, and also to connect with people so that we can get to know one another, because that's so important for the relationships to help me be successful that will in turn help the university be successful.
Right, so what are the ways that you interact with the students here during this flagship?
My whole philosophy is about engagement and making sure that we as a community, a university community, can dialogue about what are the things that make this university great, and then what do we as a university need to do to be ever greater, because all great universities are always seeking to be even greater. And what are the aspirations we should be looking toward? And that's the kind of discourse that I'd like to engage in during this semester as I go around and meet people.
Right, and so in these conversations you mentioned, engaging and all of that, but you came into office during a time there was so much controversy and discussion on campus. What was that transition like, taking your position, and how did you approach that?
I think that's a key part of this flagship forum is to make sure that we establish a trust with the IHL board, among all the constituents and partners on our campus, so that we can do great things for this university. And I'm already seeing that in action. I would say the medical center and the IHL board did not have the full trusting relationship that was ideal, and we've already made some great steps in that line. In fact, my first IHL board meeting this past month was the all-time fastest meeting I think that ever existed at the board. It's because we've gotten past that, a lot of those issues. We're taking care of those discussions in advance, and we're not engaged anymore in kind of questioning about what the motivations are of each side. We're working together as a team. The board has an important mission. It has a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that all the universities in the state are financially sound. We as a university work with the board to assure them that we are accountable and financially sound along those lines. And then we're taking the lead in moving this university forward, and the board's supportive in that role. So I'm very, very optimistic, based on what's already happened, that we're going to have a good relationship with the board, and that we're going to do great things for this university.
Right, and so I know that there's been an important topic amongst students lately, which is the renaming of Varman Hall. Tell us about your visions and approach on this proposal as this comes up in discussion.
Well, we're always going to approach things in an inclusive and consultative manner. I am committed to following through on the diversity action plan in a considered way so that we can make further progress. We are going to be putting a plaque in front of the Confederate Monument to put that statue into context and to honor, frankly, the struggles and the triumphs of James Meredith and the civil rights movement. This is a campus with a rich history, we need to understand that history and let it guide us forward to a bright future. That's what my focus is. So we're going to follow the guidelines of that report, and we're going to do it in a very respectful way so that we can help advance the state as well as the university.
Vitter definitely stresses the importance of working closely with the students and learning more about their visions for the future of Ole Miss. Good evening, everybody. Taking a look at our current conditions outside, we've been seeing the sun, but we have not been feeling its warmth. It is cold out there with temperatures in the upper 30s. And unlike yesterday, when winds were gusting between 20 to 30 miles per hour and making it feel a lot colder than it was outside, wind hasn't been much of a factor today, so it actually feels like 37 degrees outside, which could be a good or bad thing depending on how much you like the cold. Looking at our current satellite image, we have a few clouds in the northern parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and into Tennessee, but those clouds are going to move out of our area during the overnight hours. A high pressure system is in control that is going to bring us some sunshine and warmer temperatures, at least for the next few days. Looking at our current temperatures across the region, we're in the upper 30s and low 40s, South Haven at 38, Holly Springs and Corinth at 36, Oxford's at 37, while Tupelo is the warmest at 41 degrees. Looking at tomorrow's high temperatures, we're actually going to be about 10 degrees warmer than we were today. South Haven and Holly Springs at 52 degrees, Corinth at 51, Oxford at 55, and Tupelo yet again will be the warmest at 57 degrees. Looking at tonight's forecast, we're going to dip below freezing like we have for the past few nights to 29 degrees. Clear skies, light and variable winds, but make sure that if you are out and about tonight, you have a jacket or you use layers because you're going to need it. It's going to be really chilly out there. And looking at tomorrow's forecast, we're going to warm up to 55 degrees. The sunny skies continue. Winds out of the northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour, but because of the clear skies, no chances of rain. Looking at our extended 5-day forecast, the sun is going to stick around with us for the next few days. We're actually going to warm up before we cool back down on Saturday to the upper 30s. But going into Sunday and Monday, the clouds return, rain chances go up as another cold front moves our way.
Man, it looks like the weather is going to be breaking my heart this Valentine's Day this Sunday with those rainy weathers.
But it won't be as rainy as it will Monday, so it should be still somewhat of a pleasant day.
Absolutely. Well, that's not the only heartbreak coming up. We are breaking it down with Jacob Duke on the Rebels' tough loss to the Florida Gators in the Swamp last night. We'll be right back.
Basketball came into the game against Florida riding a 2-game winning streak, and good news for the Rebels was that they had forward Sebastian Saiz back in the lineup. Would it be enough for the Rebels? Let's roll the highlights. Sebastian Saiz back in the lineup for the Rebels after missing 6 games due to an eye injury. Moody's going to dish it out to Sebastian Saiz, who's going to hit the mid-range jumper. Sebastian Saiz already looking in mid-season form. Now Moody is trying to get the Rebels back in the game, drives in, is called for the charge. Moody's not happy about that one. That's his 3rd one for the half. Moody's going to have to sit on the bench. Now with back in the second half, the Rebels got back on defense. Moody in transition, driving down, passes out to Rasheed Brooks, who hits the 3. Rebels are trying to come back here in the second half. Moody, the Batman, leading the team back, ties it up for the Rebels, 36-36. As Casey Hill's going to drive in for Florida, making plays down the stretch with the circus shot, and one. Hope he called bank. All right, and the Rebels trying to come back in the last couple seconds. Florida is going to steal the ball. They're going to take possession. That's all they wrote. Florida's going to win 77-72. Tomas Giello and Stephon Moody had big nights against Florida. Giello led the Rebels last night in scoring, putting up 20 points while grabbing 8 rebounds, while Stephon Moody put up 19 points but committed an ugly 8 turnovers. Sebastian Saiz returned to the lineup last night against Florida after missing 6 games due to an eye injury. Saiz played 26 minutes in last night's matchup, going 2 for 8 from the floor while putting up 4 points and 6 boards. Over in the association, the Memphis Grizzlies center Marc Gasol will miss the rest of the season with a broken right foot. Gasol had 11 points in Monday's matchup against the Trailblazers before leaving late in the first quarter. The Grizzlies currently sit 5th in the West and have a 30-22 record. Losing Gasol is a huge loss for the Grizzlies, who seem to be turning their season around. Gasol is the leading scorer for the Grizz, averaging 16 points per game. Except they have Ryan Hollins and Brandon Wright to man the middle for the Grizzlies, or the Grizzlies may have to look for a trade to replace Gasol's production in the lineup. Now over to Ole Miss football, the Rebels are looking to build on last year's recruiting class and bring in another strong group of guys. With Fadal Brown and Isaac Gross graduating in 2017, the Rebels will have to find some strong replacements on the defensive line. JUCO defensive end Markel Winters out of Jones County Junior College could be the answer. Yesterday, the Rebels wheeled him in as their second commitment in this class. The 6-foot, 240-pound defensive end had 33 total tackles, 5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles for Jones County last year. Winters was a 2-star out of high school and previously played for East Carolina before being dismissed from the team for a BB gun citation. Winters confirmed his commitment to Ole Miss on Tuesday, saying he felt Ole Miss was a good fit for him and called Ole Miss one of the best schools for defensive linemen. He is currently not rated by any recruiting service. This could be a diamond in the rough the Rebels are looking for. That's all for sports. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, @Rebel_Watch, and tune in to Friday's Sports Special at 3. We'll be right back.